I was just wondering whether or not I should say anything. You're listening to Truth in the Afternoon. I'm your host, Dr. Ken Harris. 833-212-1017 is the number. I'm upset now, but I'm always upset. But it's Friday. And it looked like it's going to be a beautiful day, and then it looked like it's going to rain. So I don't know what to do. We're live from the American Family Insurance Studio at Radio City, 833-212-1017. We're going to be open line Friday. So if you got anything you want to talk about, and you got to tell me up front. And then if I want to talk about it, I say I won't talk about it. I'll probably bring you on the air and tell you I don't want to talk about it. You know why? Because it's Friday and I'm happy and everything's going great and everything's wonderful. After this first segment, I'm going to bring up a topic that was had. I don't know whether or not I'm going to have Kyle come in because a fight might break out as it relates to female artists, female actresses, females, Black women making their due in the entertainment world. So we'll get into a little bit of that. But I came to clear my throat. I came to an epiphany the other night. Yes, I did. Wasn't the first time in my life. Won't be the last, I hope. I came to an epiphany. And that epiphany is, and I think I've alluded to it before, but now I think I've taken it to the next step. It's time for we as citizens of the city of Milwaukee to start making changes in our own community. What does that mean? That means that we need to look at and consider how things are done and processes that are in place. Stop letting politicians tell us this is how it has to be done. Politicians need to figure out how to do it. Oops, sorry about that. Okay, this ain't working out. Hang on. Okay. Politicians need to figure out how to do it. Politicians need to figure out how to do what the people are telling them to do. So when you get in office, that's not the time to start telling us this is how the process is and this is how it works. This is not the time for you to be telling us that we need to understand what it is you need to do because you know what's better for the people. When the people ask for something and you don't give it to them, you should be removed from office. And so that's where I am now. What precipitated this? So I had a conversation with a neighbor today, and we were discussing what we can do about keeping people out of our neighborhood that don't belong. So some of you can get mad, some of you can get upset, but some of you moved to suburbs, which is why you didn't want to live in a neighborhood where you didn't want certain people in it. And guess what? I'm not mad at you. But I think I can do the same thing in the city of Milwaukee. So one of the ways to do it is first, repair the streets that got holes in them. I don't understand why our streets aren't getting repaired. I don't understand why I have to drive and weave around holes. I don't understand why I hit an intersection on Locust, and in the intersection on Locust, the street has so many bumps in the intersection that it almost tears your car up just simply trying to drive straight. And where are the older persons or women or men or whatever the heck they're calling themselves these days, along with the county supervisors that are fixing this stuff? Like, where are you? Well, that's one. Number two, speed bumps, speed humps, whatever you want to call them. We need to add them in. We need to make sure that when people drive down the street, they actually slow down. They actually stop driving like a bat out of and actually slow down. And if there's an issue with it and the common council person doesn't take care of it, get rid of them. Do them the way they did the San Francisco district attorney and vote them out of office or recall them and get rid of them. If you don't do the things that the citizens of the city of Milwaukee ask you to do, recall them. We have to start making changes. holes in the street, pothole city. I talked about it the other day. Construction on the expressways. What are we doing? Speed humps. Let's put them in. These side streets where people drive through, terrorize kids playing, put speed humps in the street. That'll slow them down. Tear up their car a couple times. Hey, they'll get with it. But then a neighbor brought up an idea, brought up something that just, when I first heard it, I wasn't with it. But as I thought about it and marinated, I thought that might be a good idea. Hey, you know what? We're going to put in a cul-de-sac. At the end of the street, put in a cul-de-sac. Across the street going north and south, a cul-de-sac. West of there at the alley, cul-de-sac. North of there at the next street, cul-de-sac. One way in, one way out. So, if you're on this street and you're not going to visit someone and you don't live there, there's no need for you to be on this street. And then to top it off, you ready? Give people a permit to be on the block. So if you don't have a permit to park on this block, you call in night parking for 3 days, boop, your car's gone, towed. Adios, see you later, sayonara. And I'm talking at night. During the day, hey, it's a public street, do what you will. But at some point, some of this has to change. Our politicians aren't fighting for us. Speaking of fighting for us, I signed up for the Atlas One, the app where you can learn what's going on with the sheriff's department and the police department. And I got a hold of some statistics from the city of Milwaukee as it related to crime that's going on in the city. And so when you wonder what's going on with why calls for service aren't being answered and things of that nature, you can get information on that report. And it covers about the first quarter of 2022. But the most important thing were the offenses that occurred in the city of Milwaukee. Homicide, rape, robbery, aggravated assault, human trafficking, burglary, theft, auto theft, arson, violent crime, property crime, and a total. Technically, from 2021 to 2022, which should only be the first quarter, crime is down 5%. Which I guess is okay. The issue I have is homicide. So in 2021, there were 64 homicides. And we went off the rails. Oh my gosh, it's terrible. 61 homicides. As of the printing of this report, we're at 89. There's a 39% increase. Think of all of 2021 and just through when they published this report in 2022, and we're at 89. We have a district attorney that won't prosecute 60% of the felony cases. We have people who got released because the judge decided to release them because they've been sitting in jail in a year without bail, who promptly got out and killed someone else. And when all is said and done, none of these people live in the neighborhoods that the judges released them into. But with carjackings in 2022 already up 10%, something has to be done. And then we pile it all in and we realize that we live in a community that actually makes adjustments to how we do business. And now we have to deal with the state legislature, which is Republican, making laws and disrespecting things. We have a governor who's a Democrat who changes things and disrespects things, and a Biden administration that has jacked us in the areas of housing, the economy, and now gas. And I'm trying to wonder, when will all this change? We're all happy about it, but when will it change? My fear is it isn't. What are your thoughts on that? 833-212-1017. When will all this just change? When will it get better? I heard today that they're going to jack up the interest rates, not 0.5%, but 0.75%, 0.75%. That means that inflation is going to keep going up. Now it's up 8.6% from last month's 8.3%. So if you think you got a raise, you really didn't. If your raise wasn't 8.6%, you are in the negative. And if you're already poor or struggling, you'll just struggle some more. This has to end, and it's only going to end one way. It's going to end good, or it's going to end bad. But I got to tell everybody, if you're an elected official, if you're an appointed official, and the city of Milwaukee is going through what it's going through, and you've done nothing to do but virtue signal and say you really love all the great things people are doing, but in the end, nothing happens. When I think about you, think about what's going on in the city, it really doesn't matter. You know why? Hey, it's just a pain in the gas.